NASA has been observing the Earth since the beginning of the satellite era in the 1960s. And the data that we are bringing down on all sorts of variables, from the ozone layer to temperature to clouds to sea ice and gravity, they're all informing us about what is happening in climate on Earth. And NASA is a huge part of that. Well, the International Space Station is a marvelous platform for observing things that are happening on Earth, but also in space. We're tracking things like the atmospheric distribution of carbon dioxide. We're tracking the stress on ecosystems and vegetation. We're also keeping track of how bright the sun is at any one moment and how that's affecting the Earth's climate too. The first views that we had from space of the Earth were transformative, both for the original Earth Day, but also for the people that saw it and then the people who've come to be working on it since then. Seeing the complexity of the Earth system and its uniqueness in the cosmos, as far as we can tell, has been profoundly important for many of the scientists working on this, and that extra viewpoint is something. It changes your perspective in a very literal way. So climate change is impacting hurricanes in a number of different ways. It looks like it's extending the season for hurricanes because the temperatures in the ocean, in the Atlantic Ocean, are warmer for longer because of the increase in greenhouse gases. We're seeing greater intensity of precipitation so that when it rains harder. And we're seeing some signs that landfalling hurricanes are slowing down, which means that their rain is falling in a more concentrated area, and that's causing big problems, such as in the case of Hurricane Harvey over Houston a couple of years ago. So climate change is impacting wildfires in a number of ways. One is it's drying out the land. So when there is fuel to burn, it's more flammable. And combined with other things that we're doing in terms of forest management, we are increasing the intensity of wildfires across the continent. Climate change impacts sea level in a number of different ways. The first and easiest to understand is that as the planet warms, the ocean absorbs that heat, and that's causing the ocean to expand. So that fills the basins more and more. But of course, as we're warming, we're also melting ice. We're melting ice in mountain areas. Glaciers are retreating. All of that water is effectively ending up in the ocean. We're melting ice in Greenland and particular West Antarctica, and those changes in ice mass, where you have ice that's sitting on the land, that's going into the ocean, and that's raising sea level as well. And so the rate of change of sea level that we've seen over the last 100 years is accelerating because of these additional aspects of climate change. Climate change is impacting droughts, possibly because of changes in the patterns of rainfall, but more directly because the planet is hotter. There's more of an evaporative demand, and so when there are shortages of rain, what's happening is that the soils are drying out faster, and so that the droughts are becoming more severe than they otherwise would be. The converse, the impact on floods, is also complicated, but because of the greater intensity of precipitation, so more rain when it's raining, that can cause flood situations to increase. Landsat is the longest running set of missions that NASA has been looking at. And that really, it's been looking at the surface changes on Earth going back for many decades now. And we're just about to launch another satellite in that series jointly with USGS to continue that long-term monitoring of the Earth's surface. And the things that you can see from that are changes in ecosystems, changes in coastlines, changes in glaciers. Everything that's happening on the surface of the Earth is being captured by this series of satellites. And a lot of it is related to climate change, and a lot of it is related to human activity more generally. And it's really quite amazing to see these things put together. Some of you may have seen there's a Google time-lapse app that was just launched that uses this information. Anywhere on Earth, you can see, 40 years of change in that Earth's surface. If you want to learn more about NASA's activities related to Earth Day, go to nasa.gov/Earth Day. But you can look at NASA data on climate at climate.nasa.gov at any time. And if you follow the hashtag connected by Earth, you'll be looped into all of the different activities that are occurring.